Hi, I'm Judy Marano. Welcome to the show. Today we're joined by Jen Stengel and Kate Everett, Kate Everett from Cornell Cooperative. And we're going to learn about your programming and all that stuff, but let's start with who you are and a little bit of background. So Jen, why don't you start?
Great. Well, Judy, I'm a resource educator with Cooperative Extension, and some of the things that I do are work with both community members and members of commercial horticulture and other green industry professions. So I work with them to teach them a little bit about upcoming practices, things where they might want to change the way they do things, or work with them on research projects and help them develop their businesses as well.
Wow.
So
I didn't know you did all that.
Yeah. We also answer the phone as well between 9 and noon. So when people have problems with their peonies or their tomatoes are growing funny,
Really?
they can call us 9 to noon and call our horticulture hotline, and we'll try to help them out.
I didn't know that.
So that's one of the things that we do.
And your background is in?
My background is in horticulture through Cornell University, but I'm also an educator as well. So a lot of what I do is talking to different audiences about gardening and natural resources as well. So it could be invasive species, or it could be something as fun as how to plant daffodils. So we do a lot of different things.
You have a cool job.
It is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, Kate.
I am the community educator, and I work with mostly homeowners, so giving classes to the community. I work with the Master Gardener volunteers, who are an excellent group of people.
Do they fall under your auspice? Do they?
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm technically their coordinator as well. And we do answer questions in the lab. That's kind of my domain as well. We also take samples, which is kind of exciting. Turf, grass, if you have questions about your lawn, or if you want to know what some kind of disease is on your plant.
I had no idea. I love that. I love to learn stuff. And your background is?
Horticulture as well, from SUNY Copelskill.
Okay. So you mentioned you went to Cornell University?
I did.
What is the correlation, what is the connection between Cornell University? I mean, people must ask that all the time because it's just, Cornell is Cornell.
They'll say, oh, you're from Cornell. Well, yes and no. So Cornell University is one of the land-grant universities, and a long time ago there was an act that established a land-grant university in each state, and those universities were tasked with doing applied research that would help farmers to grow crops more effectively, use fewer pesticides. And over the years, it's really developed into a lot of different branches, one of which is youth development, which we often think of 4-H as one of our
we'll talk about 4-H
branches,
in a while. Yeah,
as well as the service to the commercial horticulture and agriculture industry.
So I just need to ask a question. So you work with people who do gardening?
And farms, and landscape companies, and arborists. So if they're growing something, we'll work with them. So, yeah.
And they can just reach out to you if they need you?
Oh yeah, they do. Some of them have my cell phone number. I'm not giving that out though. But part of that connection from Cornell to each county in New York State is the Cooperative Extension Associations that are in each county.
Okay.
While every state is a little bit different, in New York State we have an extension office in each county that reaches out to both homeowners, businesses, youth, and also county government to help develop our community and make it a greater place to live in. So that's really, it's a big umbrella, and we have a lot of different things that we do, which vary from each association, might be a little different.
So you deal just with Putnam County?
Just with Putnam County.
Okay, now I just want to touch on something that you do. You do homeowners. So people reach out to you and say, I need your help, or?
Mostly through the lab. They call in the horticulture hotline. Some of them find my email address on the website, and they'll email me with questions there. And it's a lot of fun.
So these are people who just have gardens in their own backyards. These are not your farm people who are selling their products or anything like that.
Correct. I passed to Jen, but it's mostly people who either want to start gardening, or they are experienced gardeners who have seen something for the first time that they've never seen before.
Is there a lot of that?
Oh, I get a lot of really interesting questions.
You know I'm going to ask you, strangest question ever.
I can give you the strangest answer ever.
Okay.
I said to one man that he wanted to know if his popcorn and sweet corn would interbreed and cause a bad thing to happen. And I told him that when your mother and father breed, mother never changes. So it's the same thing with corn. The mom never changes.
That's right.
If they planted the corn, that would be different. But that was the strangest answer I found myself giving out.
Yeah.
He seemed to understand it.
That's a very creative correlation. No, I like that. That was very clear to me. Strangest question you've ever gotten?
Oh, I think probably the strangest question I've ever gotten is somebody who heard a lot of tree frogs out in the in the landscape around their home, and were trying to get a good night's sleep, and they wanted to know how to make them quiet.
And did you give an
I had
answer
to
to
give
that?
them the hard answer that there really wasn't a way to do it.
No.
That's part of living with trees around you. So, yeah.
I have them outside my house. I hear them all the
it's a
time.
beautiful
It's a
sound.
beautiful sound until you're sick of it. And then,
Right.
at some point it becomes white noise, I think.
Yes.
At some
Yes.
point you don't even hear it anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So aside from the gardening, you have little branches, master gardeners being one of them, the children's, young adult programs,
Right.
and what else falls under Cornell Cooperative?
We have 3 divisions in our association. One is youth development, one is horticulture and natural resources, and the other is community development.
Okay.
So we also offer programs for organizations, nonprofits, as well as government organizations, bringing in specialists on working with the public, or dealing with difficult coworkers, or being the most effective organization to deliver a certain type of service. So we'll bring those specialists in and offer those programs to our local collaborators and the local government. So.
And these programs are not free to them.
Often they are, but sometimes there's a small charge, but it's usually dependent on the speaker, that can be, but a lot of times we work with other organizations to help make those free to our local government.
I got it. So I had the pleasure of working with both of you for the Studio Around the Corner Garden, which we delivered our first bunch of produce over to CAP this week. And what was amazing to me was the different ways that you can plant. We planted in hay, we planted in buckets. Is that some of the stuff that you try to educate people on?
Yeah, we actually have a demonstration garden down by the DMV, right next door, and we have vertical gardening, square foot gardening, compost demonstration, and we actually even have a pollinator garden down there.
Wow. And how do people find out about this?
We work hard. We put it on our website. We send out little flyers.
Okay, what's your website address?
It's putnam.cce.cornell.edu.
Okay. So, and all the programs that you do are up there.
Yeah, and our events our Kathy is really good about putting everything on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we offer programs to the public, so people can come take a beginning gardening course, the course that we were working with you on as well.
The seed to sucker.
Programs on inoculating shiitake mushrooms. So we have a wide variety of programs for the public. And just check out our website. They're constantly changing. And upcoming hikes, we're doing guided hikes as well. So we try to mix it up a little bit and do a lot of different things. Yeah.
I've been in Putnam for 21 years, and I have to say a lot of this is new information to me, which is great, because if I didn't know, maybe somebody else doesn't know,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
Don't they say that Cooperative Extension is the best kept secret?
Well, we don't want to be a secret. We really want people to know about it.
No, you do so much, and I like I said, I had no idea.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So just to kind of do a little plug here, you'll be at the Studio Around the Corner on July 12th answering questions for people. You'll be outside from 7 till 8:30. If anybody has any questions, that'd be a great opportunity to see what you do and what kind of things you can help with. Right? We can bring leaves, we can bring samples, you'll help them figure stuff out.
Yeah. And Master Gardener volunteers will be there to answer some of those questions. And they're a wonderful group of volunteers who are educated in an 11-week course. We bring down Cornell faculty and staff. We bring in specialists from the industry to teach these classes. And these volunteers obviously already have a love of gardening, but we help them develop their areas of interest and make them experts in their little niche. So they'll be there as well to answer those questions.
Great. And it'll be a nice night. We'll just kind of be outside and enjoy the fruits of our labor, so to speak. One of the things that we talked about when we started our garden at the studio was, giving people the idea to bring it home. So, we talked a lot about, using buckets. So, can you give me some ideas how to make this easy for people at home?
For small space gardening is a really excited one. I recently found out that you can grow potatoes right in a pot. And I think that was the most exciting thing that I've learned in a long time.
Like in a regular, well, although I did learn from you that you can't just go and buy a potato at Acme and then put it in the ground.
Yeah, it's better to buy seed potato from a seed catalog or from a nursery. But we grew it in a big cloth bag, and we planted our potatoes in there. And then the most exciting part is when you dump it out, you don't even have to dig for them. It's really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. So you can grow pretty much anything in a pot that you could grow in the ground. You want to make sure that it's bigger than a gallon, or it'll be drying out on you.
And drill holes in the bottom, right?
Drill holes in the bottom. Yeah.
And so you don't really need a huge amount of space to have a garden.
No, not really. Nope.
Actually, one of the cool things that you can also use is, you know how you end up with a lot of those really nice cloth grocery store bags?
Yes.
Well, when you have one that's starting to get a little tired and frayed, you can fill that with soil, grow potatoes in that, or perhaps put a melon or a squash or a cucumber in there. There's a good way to give it a final life before it really falls apart.
Falls apart.
Yeah. So
And
that was
so it doesn't affect the growth at all. They don't
No.
need root systems to spread out or anything like that.
No. Cloth bags like that actually cause the plant to prune its own roots on the edge so that the roots don't go to where it's dry and the roots stay nice in the middle. So with potatoes, that means when you dump it out, they just fall very nicely out of that bag and you can reach through and pick out the potatoes.
exciting.
Yeah.
And okay, so this time of year we're growing tomatoes, we're growing squashes, we're growing cucumbers and peppers, and lettuce is in the, and I learned this from you guys, lettuce is in the cooler spring. Potatoes anytime?
Potatoes are warmer, probably.
Warmer?
You can do successive plantings of them. Earlier you can plant fingerlings, which are those nice little potatoes. They mature pretty quickly, but you could have successive plantings. Once it gets super hot, July, August, there's not a lot that you're going to plant right then.
Okay.
But then you can still have a successive harvest of potatoes throughout the growing season if you plant a couple of weeks apart. So, yeah.
But when should they go in the ground?
When should they go in the ground? They can go in the ground anytime after chance of last frost, and then up to, I would say, mid-June to just before July. Then we start to have trouble with drought and heat. So, yeah, how's that?
And do you, I'm going to pretend that I know what I'm talking about. Do you guys recommend using that weed stuff that cloth that you put down and cutting out plants? Does that make a difference? Somebody told me that preserves moisture.
It can. Do you want to talk about it? Or
You take it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It can actually be really useful if it's something that you're going to pick up every year. So those weed suppressive barriers, you would do any preparation you want to your garden first, then put the weed suppressive barrier down, and then make little holes in it to put your plants in. At the end of the growing season, you would want to pick that back up, roll it up, and set it aside for the season or get new for next year. So it can be effective both warming the soil, preserving moisture, and keeping, of course, weeds from growing, which is a big savings in time and grunt work. Weeding is a lot of what people don't like about gardening.
Right, it's the part that we must begrudgingly do. Yeah. So again, July 12th, you'll be outside and you'll be giving out free tips to anybody who stops by. Let's talk a little bit about the 4-H fair. I know that's something that falls under your auspices.
It's July 20th, 29th, and 30th this year, and it's at the Putnam County Park.
Off of Gypsy Trail Road in Carmel.
Yep. We have a lot of cool and exciting things.
Can you give us some clues on what we're expected to see there?
Touch a truck, right?
There's a touch a truck, yeah.
What's a touch a truck?
This is kind of exciting. Local businesses bring their big machinery. You get to touch it.
That is a little boy's dream come true.
And some little girls, you'd be surprised how
Oh
many
yeah,
little
I
girls
should have said
really
that.
want
Boys
to
and
get
girls.
there.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. We'll also have a bug zoo. We always do a bug zoo, which as an insect lover, I really enjoy. For the week before, we collect insects, put them in containers that children can see up close, and we take very good care of them. But so that children can look very closely at something like a wasp or a hornet safely and see what a marvelous creature it is and how beautifully put together it is. We'll also have a lot of other insects displays on native plants, displays on invasive plants, on beekeeping. So we have a lot of activities.
Cool stuff in the tent this year.
Yeah. Plus, we also have all the wonderful 4-H fair exhibits that youth put together. Those are in the exhibit building, and they're judged. So if people have any beautiful projects left over from their school science fair or any displays that they made for a project, we would love them to enter those as an exhibit at the fair, and they have an opportunity to get some constructive feedback on it, maybe win a ribbon, and just have that kind of feather in their cap that they had.
And it runs how many days?
3.
3 days.
Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
And for the exhibits, you can also enter your vegetables.
Oh yeah.
But
It's like the biggest pumpkin, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Well,
like, you know, garlic and
Right.
tomatoes and stuff. So if you're
Perfect head of lettuce, maybe.
Yeah.
You
Cool
know,
stuff like
that is really, it's a county, it's a county fair.
Yeah.
Pies, baked goods, jellies, all those things that people think about being exhibited at the county fair. That's what people would put in, and
And there's a petting zoo there too, is there not? Or animals there?
There are animals, yeah.
There are animals.
But I don't know that you pet them.
No,
I don't think
we
so.
don't touch them?
Last year we had camels. That was
we did
pretty
have
cool.
camels. Yeah, they were really amazing. They were Bactrian camels rather than dromedary, right? I think so.
don't remember.
And they came from where?
They came from Green Chimneys.
Oh,
They
okay.
were, they brought their camels over. We usually have some oxen or some draft horses there for people to see, as well as bunnies and chickens and other animals that and a pony ride. I think Friday's pony riding.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity for people to see animals up close, and it's not. Doesn't have a midway, so it's not that bustling, bright, flashing light. So it's something that you can bring your family to. You can bring your own food.
I was going to say, is there an age, what would you say, like an age cutoff? Is anybody too young?
No. Everybody's
There's stuff for everybody.
Yeah?
It really is. Yeah.
For the adults, there's the auction that we
Right.
do on Saturday.
Saturday night auction.
Okay.
Do you remember what time that is?
I think it changed this
It's
year.
five-ish, 5 o'clock-ish.
Yeah, I think so.
And then for kids, there's all kinds of crafts. There are fun things. There's games that are created by 4-H youth. There's a games tent. There's a crafts tent. And lots of other fun things. And it's kind of nice pace. You can bring your own snacks. You have a nice shady places where you can just, sit down and take a break for a while. Parking is free. The entrance to the fair is free as well. So it's a great event to bring the whole family to. Magic show.
Music.
Music, yeah.
It's a lot of
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
And other than your website, is there any other place that we could find information about the 4-H fair?
Our Facebook
Our
Your
Facebook,
Facebook
page,
and our Twitter.
Yep.
Okay.
I
And your
do-
Facebook page is
I believe it's CCE Putnam.
CCE Putnam?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And wow, I have to get more involved. I really don't know what's going on here. I can call about my roses. I can go to a 4-H fair.
Yeah.
Who knew? Okay, so when you're not doing a 4-H fair and it's not gardening season, what do you guys do?
Plan for gardening season.
Yeah, so isn't that what every gardener does, right?
I don't know.
Get those seed catalogs out.
Yep.
No. And we also, that's actually the best time for us to work with the green industry professionals because it's their quiet time as well.
So tell me, when you
yeah.
say green industry professionals, what kind of people are you referring? What kind of businesses are you referring to?
So think of the folks who mow lawns, who install landscapes, or who work on your trees. Those are
Okay.
all green industry professionals, as well as those who are growing plants, so nurseries, garden centers.
Okay.
Those folks all have a very unique business that's very dependent on weather and good growing conditions.
Right.
So they're, like farmers, are always kind of on a knife edge in the sense that if the weather's really bad, their business can really suffer. So they have a downtime, which is usually in the winter when things are freezing and nothing's growing, and that's usually when we work with them. We have a lot of different programs, both hands-on in nurseries and garden centers, as well as working with other surrounding land-grant universities to bring in specialists like turf disease specialists, or we have a lot of new invasive insects and diseases that are threatening our trees. And that's really of great concern to all of us. So they'll come in for a training on that so they can be our eyes in the trees and boots on the ground looking for those pests.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you are a very busy off season then. There's
Very
really
busy.
there's not really a down season for you.
Not so much. There used to be, but
Maybe
it's,
a week
it's
in
getting,
August.
It's getting
Yeah.
smaller.
That's your vacation week.
That's it,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that aside from all this other stuff, you reach out to people, they reach to you, kind of?
Both.
Both.
Yes. Yeah. People who know us will often call the diagnostic lab. Now you know.
I
hope
know,
lots of
I
other
know.
people
I'm going
as
to go
well.
home and find something wrong with my plants and call you.
Yes.
Diagnostic lab.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one way. And we also reach out to people. Our May plant sale, lots of people come to that plant sale. And that's really a great opportunity to make that first contact, that people get a chance to talk with Master Gardener volunteers about the plants they're buying, and then know then that they can call us or bring us a soil sample, and we'll check the soil sample for them. That's often a good contact point. Youth who are part of 4-H, their parents, they have gardens too, so we'll love them to tap into our resources, and yeah, so we love to thank you so much for allowing us on the show, because then we have this opportunity to reach a lot more people.
Well, like I said, this is a lot of it is new information for me as well, and I've been in Putnam for 21 years, and this is shocking to me. So,
Oh no.
I mean, I knew about 4-H. I knew that it existed. I just guess I never really paid that much attention, and I'm so glad I do now, because I'm working with you guys, and I'm so much more aware of what's going on. But yeah, there's so
wonderful.
much to offer.
There is. There really is.
And cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Now, are you involved at all in like open space? You know, like say there's like along the bike trail. Are you guys involved in anything about, you know, community open space? Like, do you do any gardening for that or no?
Not there specifically. We do maintain 2 community garden plots in the Tilly Foster Community Garden, which is managed by our park here in Putnam County.
Okay.
And that is a teaching space for us. We try to exhibit best practices and also have that opportunity to talk to all the gardeners there. But our focus on invasive...
Are they using, I'm sorry to interrupt,
yep.
Are they using some of that in the new restaurant there?
They're not. These are all owned by, these plots are all rented by individuals who enjoy that.
Oh,
produce
okay, so
themselves.
they own basically a
20 by
plot
20 plot. Right.
Okay.
We hope to be working up at Tilly Foster. We were thinking about an herb garden or a demonstration pollinator garden, but we'll see how that evolves over time. But as we work with invasive species, we are doing work with other organizations in the lower Hudson Valley region to talk about that invasive species issue and try to develop programs that teach people about invasive species in New York State, because they are going to really impact our quality of life. And
it's changed. There's new things coming.
yes, there's new things coming. And because our area is so invaded already by invasive species, anytime we open up a new road or anytime we do a little bit of construction, suddenly, boom, there they are. They're growing so quickly, they invade the spot before any of our native plants get a chance to grow. So, you know, between those invasive species and our overabundance of deer, our native plants are having a really hard time. So they're having a hard time, then the pollinators and the other creatures that depend upon them are as well. So that's how we interact with open spaces.
I wanted to just mention, I know I just read an article about bumblebees and how they're really, those poor bugs, they're not doing so well.
Not doing so well.
So what can we do as you know, regular people? What do we want to plant to get the bumblebees to come back? And what do we want to, I mean, they're essential. We need them.
They are very essential. And they're awesome pollinators. Bumblebees happen to be very good pollinators. Honeybees are good pollinators, but they're not nearly as good as our native bees. What we can do, and if you visit our website again, we have a list of plants for the landscape that help support pollinators. And these are plants that will attract bees, so let's not, you know, candy coat it. There's going to be bees on them. People think pollinators, oh great, butterflies, and bees.
And bees,
and
right?
Bees. But bees are our allies, and there's a great list of plants for your landscape there. If you're interested in seeing them in bloom, come visit our pollinator garden. We have a lovely pollinator garden at 1 Geneva Road next to the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Okay.
stop in any time and look at those plants. They're beautiful and full of flowers right now, and the bees.
And that's what we want.
That's what we want.
Right.
So providing forage for the bees throughout the growing season, that includes both native and non-native plants, can extend that season of bloom. And look, your garden is going to look beautiful, but the bees that are emerging can find food at any time across the season if you plant a wide variety of plants.
Okay. So we need to just provide the food so that they
Right.
can sustain.
Yes.
Do bees, dumb question, bees die off in the winter?
All of our native bees do, yes. The only
They
bee
do.
that is a perennial bee is the honeybee, the European honeybee or the non-native honeybee that we use for honey. And the only way it survives is because it puts food away in the form of honey, and that keeps them alive.
So the problem is there's just not enough for the bees to eat. That's or
Mul-
to pollinate from.
That and also the impact of pesticides on bees in the United States and around the world. We're really not clear about which pesticides are impacting them, but clearly that's one of the issues. We also have a number of honeybee parasites and pests that are also now being found in our native bee populations. And climate change has a huge impact on our pollinators as well. Pollinators are emerging out of synchrony with their normal food source. When that happens, if there's not something else that they can feed on, they're naturally going to really suffer. So that's where our gardens come in, where you have a lot of plants blooming.
Yeah, and even if you don't have a lot of space, like you're saying, you don't need a lot of space,
Right.
you just need the right things in the right place.
Right. And a good rule of thumb is if you can have 12 things blooming at a time, you'll have a wider variety of pollinators, and that is 12 things, and that will make your garden look gorgeous.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I'm just thinking, do we have 12 things in
I know. We try. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. This was so interesting. I learned so much.
Great. I'm so glad that you
And
invited
I
us.
had no idea. And so just again, we're going to just kind of recap. We have a hotline we can call.
Right. 9 to noon weekdays. Yep.
845-278-6738.
Okay, and we have a website to go to find out all this information. We have classes we can attend. We can go see your garden up behind motor vehicle.
Yep.
And obviously, you can come to the studio around the corner if they want to meet a professional or master gardener on July 12th from 7 to 8:30 to ask questions, bring samples, whatever you need to do. Obviously, we want to go to the 4-H fair.
Yep. July 28th, 29th, and 30th. Yeah.
And I'm going to continue now that you're on my radar. You're going to continue, and we're going to be good.
Great.
So thank you guys for coming.
Thank
Thank you so
And
much.
have a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, good.